I think The Soloist wouldn't work in both the relationship that occurred between Steve and Nathaniel and as a film if you don't believe that Steve Lopez has some sort of moral psychology, that he is, if he isn't a good guy, then there's no reason to watch the rest of the show.
How would you describe that relationship? Because they're both helping each other. It's a very special, unique relationship, and it's true. It's extraordinary.
I don't know what to make of it, but in reenacting it, I found that everybody has some sort of chaos that we're all attempting to manage, sometimes better than others. And I think that Nathaniel ignites in Steve this recognition that no matter how, to the perception of others, far out something is, you can still be grounded if you have a belief in the power of friendship, the power of music, that type of thing.
Apart from the message of the power of friendship, this film is about many other things. What would you say it's also about?
I would say it's about what's great about and what is reprehensible about Los Angeles. I would say it's about media. I would say it's about at what point do you think you're doing the right thing for the right reasons, and at what point do you start actually doing them just to become a better person.
Robert, what did you learn from that side of LA that we normally turn our head and we don't want to know about?
Well, I've always been, I was a street kid. You know, I was very much raised as someone who was, I didn't have a sheltered upbringing. So I think it reminded me of my own openness and awareness of growing up. But you get a little sheltered and you get a little space and you have a couple hit movies and you're flying around in private airplanes. And I think it was really, really, really important for me, for my own humility, to get back to the essentials of acting, filmmaking, and interacting with these amazing people who have such challenging lives.
Speaking of them, I remember when I went visited on the set and you were at the Walt Disney Hall, and Nathaniel was actually outside playing, and then he came in and had lunch with all of us, really.
Yeah.
I want to ask you about Nathaniel. What was he like to meet? What have you learned from meeting him?
I love the guy. I do not find him off-putting or disquieting at all. And I think from my perception, our perception, he might seem to be pretty far off the norm, but there's a system of controls that he utilizes to make his way through life, and the fact that he is not you know, homeless or dead or acting out in any way, I think is, as long as there's containment on that and there's harm reduction, it really is. So many other cultures, they don't have the same judgment on mental illness, whatever that is, that the West does. They are much more understanding of that it's just a natural occurrence. You know, it's a chaotic occurrence.
What do you think Jamie brought to that role?
I think he brought himself, and he's a serious actor, and he doesn't take himself seriously, but he takes his work seriously. So I think it was a very, very, very difficult role for him, and he gave it everything, and it's right there on screen. You know.
It's interesting that you say that about taking seriously, because the film also has some moments of humor. And I think that's also helpful and to challenge the real dramatic relationship. There's some humor, there's some moments there.
I think about those dramas, Kramer versus Kramer. I tend to think back to the 70s and Sidney Pollack and Sidney Lumet and all these guys who are great dramatic storytellers. There's always humor, and I don't want to say comedic relief, but there's always the irony of what the characters are going through. And I think it's unfair to tell a quote-unquote dramatic story in an entirely serious way.
I do believe this film required a special director with a special sensitivity to really accomplish what it has accomplished. What do you think? Well, I'd really ask you about Joe Wright and working with him.
Well, Joe is an artist, and anyone who directs a film, whether they're great or not, has a certain amount of artistic integrity, or they probably wouldn't have been given the shot. And Joe is just a different breed of director. He's very almost theatrical in his approach. Rehearsals are paramount to him. He's got a fantastic eye, and he really genuinely is not unlike Richard Attenborough. He is very much a squad leader, and you feel that he's right out there in front of every moment that's happening. You know, he'd be the first to take a bullet.
And isn't Catherine Keener extraordinary?
Yeah, she's... I don't even know what to say about her because we have such a playful relationship. She sends me the most awful, hurtful emails all the time, just saying what a bastard I am and all these other things. But she also sends me a word a day, wordsmith, where I get French words and Latin things and all these words. So she's probably one of the smartest gals I've ever come across.
What do you think music is for Nathaniel?
I think for Nathaniel, I don't know. For me, I would say that it's what it always was, which is a source of connection to something timeless, you know. And as we go along, I'll notice in the course of a day, I can be projecting into the future in a way that's comforting or intuitive or fearful, or I can be remembering something pleasant or traumatic from the past.